Shalom, everyone. One of the most important methods when learning Torah is when we see certain numbers appear over and over again in different contexts. And so we try to look for connections. If we have a certain number that appears over and over again, what is the connection between them? And when we find the connections, it opens up how we understand the Torah and life itself. So today, let's look at the number 50. We'll start with the idea that the giving of the Torah, the holiday of Shavuot, is on the 50th day after we start counting the Omer. On the night after the first day of Pesach, we begin counting Sfira to Omer. 7 weeks, 7 complete weeks. And actually it says 7 times 7 weeks. And that comes to 49 days. We count 49 days of the Omer. And the 50th day is the receiving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. So 50 here represents the idea of completion. We see the same dynamic, the same cycle, how we count years. Every 7th year is what's called the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year, where we rest our fields. And then we count 7 times 7 years, 49 years, just like we count 49 days, 7 times 7 weeks. And the 50th year is what's called the Yovel year, the Jubilee year. So what's the connection between the Torah being given on the 50th day and the Jubilee coming in the 50th year? We can see the connection is the idea of completeness and freedom. Because in the Jubilee year, it's called a year of freedom, that land returns to the original owners, the indentured servants go free, the fields are rested for an additional year. They're rested in the 49th year, and a whole additional year. And so it represents freedom. And Torah itself represents freedom. When Moshe received the first tablets, so the Torah describes that they were written by the finger of God. And it says, Charut ala luchot. The letters were engraved in the tablets. The sages later said, don't read it engraved charut, read it cherut, freedom. Freedom and engraved have the same letters. So don't read it that the letters were engraved. Freedom was engraved on the luchot. That the Torah gives us freedom to overcome our lower natures and to be able to truly realize our higher nature, our higher levels of soul. So the Jubilee and Shavuos are very connected in the idea of completion and freedom. The Zohar points out that the expression Yetziat Mitzrayim, leaving Egypt, appears 50 times in the Chumash. This is obviously connected to the receiving of Torah, because the whole purpose of leaving Egypt was not just to get away from the Egyptians who were oppressing us, who were enslaving us, but it was to end up 50 days later at Mount Sinai so we could get true freedom. And that was in the Torah. Every day that we count the Omer, we count 49 days. Each day is like a Yetziat Mitzrayim. Each day is like a leaving Egypt. Because to go from slavery to be free is a process. The fact that it says Yetziat Mitzrayim 50 times, that is telling us of the process of freedom. How to get to a process of completion is by leaving Egypt, leaving our what we consider our predetermined reality, and be able to walk into a new reality, accept and receive a new reality. All of this is connected to another 50, and that is that there's a tradition that there are 50 gates of understanding. Chamishim Sha'arei Bina, 50 gates of understanding. So this is obviously connected to everything that we've said up to now, that counting the Omer, every day of counting the Omer is an attempt to free ourselves from bondage, and not just physical bondage, but from spiritual, psychological, emotional, intellectual bondage, and to move towards freedom, move towards understanding. Climbing the 49 days is like climbing a mountain to Mount Sinai. And each day is an attempt to come to a new understanding. And of course, we count every year because we need to continue to grow. 50 gates of understanding culminate in the giving of the Torah. By tradition, the 49 gates can be accessed, can be owned through the intellect and fixing our midot, rectifying our personality, our characteristics. But we're told that the 50th gate is very elusive, that it's beyond intellect, it's beyond logic. We enter into a place of faith and a higher level of consciousness. The whole process of going from slavery to freedom is the acquisition of these gates of understanding. And that's why the receiving of the Torah at Sinai was a truly mystical experience. It wasn't like a natural kind of event. We're told that the 7 heavens opened up, that all of the senses merged together. We were able to see that which is ordinarily only heard. That was the idea of the 50th level. We have to go beyond the intellect. We have to transcend that which we think is possible. And we'll end up with one more 50, and that appears in the book of Job. In the book of Job, a very philosophical book, a lot of trying to understand suffering. Job experiences tremendous suffering and is trying to understand why is this happening? What is the reason behind it? What's the logic? What's the fairness? And Job questions God throughout the whole book. Towards the end of the book, God comes to Job and he presents 50 different questions, which the idea was to make Job, who thinks he kind of has a handle on what life is about, how God runs the world. But through these 50 questions, Job comes to understand how much he doesn't understand. And we're told that this is very connected to the idea of the 50th gate, is what's said that the greatest knowledge is to know that I don't know. And that we accept that there are certain things that we may never understand. And that is actually the greatest knowledge. And that can lead to a type of understanding that transcends what we think we can understand. But it means that we have to go through a stage where we accept we're not a know-it-all. That there's certain things that we don't understand. So at the end of the book, Job is confronted with God's 50 questions. In a sense, God is trying to teach him 50 gates of understanding by having him understand that he doesn't understand. And through not understanding, you could actually come to understanding. That's like in Purim, where the mitzvah is to drink ad lo yada, until one doesn't know. But it doesn't mean to be in a drunken stupor. It means to transcend our usual understanding of knowledge to reach a higher level of knowledge. Here we've put together many, many different numbers 50, but with great thought and meditation and contemplation, we could see how they're all connected one to the other. And this is just a method that can be used with all the different numbers in the Torah that appear over and over again, is to compare them and to see the secrets hiding there.